What's up, everybody? This is Jay, and this video is about the KD and Kyrie sign with the Brooklyn Nets, and was it a good move and why? Now let's get into it. Now we all know that Kevin Durant and Kyrie, two of the best free agents available this summer, have signed with the Brooklyn Nets, and we were all kind of shocked because a lot of people didn't think Kevin Durant would leave a good situation like Golden State to join Brooklyn, up and coming new franchise on the rise with Kyrie Irving, who is also a great point guard, but he hasn't been consistent in his career either. We're talking about two great players that became friends a few years ago playing in the Olympics. Now, we all know Kevin Durant is one of the top players in NBA history and easily one of the top 10 players of all time. Now, the difference is this. He's coming off a major injury. An Achilles injury is the number one most catastrophic injury an NBA player can have. No one has ever came back from this type of injury and been the same. The only person to ever make an all-star game after it was Dominique Wilkins, and after that 1 year, he wasn't the same. Some believe because of Kevin Durant's skill set, he could possibly do so. He's 6'9" listed on Basketball Reference, but we all know as basketball fans, he's easily 7 feet. And he's averaged over 26 points a game for his career, and also shot 50%, 90% free throw shooter, and a 40% three-point shooter. So he has a great array of talents that is very unique for his size and his skill set. But was it smart for him to leave Golden State? In my opinion, I think it wasn't. I think he should have opted in for one more season and rehab there, and then went to Brooklyn. But he could have taken a gamble because people could have saw he wasn't the same. Now, the discussion began months ago, according to Bleacher Report, and their friendship blossomed even more, and they decided they were going to team up. And they didn't know if it was going to be New York or Brooklyn or even Boston. But as the season went on, it became clear that they were going to team up not in New York, because New York, they were a mess. And so Kevin Durant, the two-time Finals MVP, NBA MVP, four-time scoring champ, he decided, okay, Kyrie, we're going to go to New Jersey. He had a lot of people didn't realize he had grown weary of the perpetual drama in Golden State. A lot of people thought it was refreshing about the big personalities in Golden State, and Durant, he actually found that distracting. He just wanted a team that placed basketball above all else. He wanted to escape the draining debate about whose team was it, Curry's or his, and he also felt taken for granted. He also felt that instead of playing the style of ball suited to him, they went back to playing the style of ball that they played before him. And Durant didn't appreciate that. Irving, who also forced a trade from Cleveland just a couple years ago, he didn't mesh with the Celtics' young core or the coach Brad Stevens. And so initially when they were going to join forces, they thought maybe the Knicks, but because Irving was raised in Jersey and he liked to play close to home, and Durant is launching a media company in New York, and so they like the synergy. A lot of people don't know that this is not necessarily a basketball decision for Durant and Irving. Neither one of them also wanted to be the savior of New York, like Carmelo and Marbury and others who played for New York, and they didn't want to play with that type of pressure and scrutiny in New York with the Knicks, so they chose to go to Brooklyn. Now, Kevin Durant, a lot of people don't know, signed with Roc Nation, which is Jay-Z's sports management company, and Jay-Z helped with the Brooklyn Nets and has strong ties, and that's part of the reason he was able to go there. And Irving and Durant, they thought that the Nets had a good young core of talent, and they also got DeAndre Jordan to join them. Now, if it was all about a good young core of talent, then Irving wouldn't have left Boston, because their young core of talent is far more superior than New Jersey. It's also about getting that money, and also being able to be closer to home. I think some of the other things other than what's on the court transpired, and that was the main reason why both of these men chose to be in Brooklyn. Not necessarily for basketball reasons, although the basketball won't be so bad. I doubt either will be a champion in Brooklyn. We saw Kevin Durant ditch Russell Westbrook, who was a superstar point guard, and then he also kind of threw him under the bus a little bit because he said that he didn't like the style of play or didn't think that they can win there. And so he joined the Warriors, which a lot of people gave him, a lot of slack for, because he joined the 73-win team and put them over the top. But if he didn't want to join that team and didn't want to hear that type of backlash, then I don't understand why he was paired up with Steph Curry and them. Now he's leaving. He listens to outside influences too much, is what it shows. And we saw in the last 3 years in Golden State, he's been able to play fewer minutes than any other season he's ever played and still be effective at what he does. Now that he's injured, coming off of this injury, playing with Kyrie Irving, who is also injury prone. He's never played a full season in his career. Okay. And Kyrie Irving has had notorious knee issues as well. Now he's younger than a lot of, other players that he's played with. He's younger than Russell Westbrook and Steph Curry, but he's also had more knee issues. Kyrie Irving didn't even play a full season in college. He only played 11 games with Duke, and he was still able to be the number one pick. Although he's a great talent, it was a weak draft that year. It's shown that Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, they were a big deal to go to to Brooklyn. Sorry, I still think of them as the Nets, New Jersey Nets, but the Brooklyn Nets. It was a big deal to land the two biggest free agents this summer, but Brooklyn may have struck out in the long term because neither one are healthy players. And Kevin Durant more than likely will miss this entire first season. And so who knows what will happen when he comes back after Kyrie Irving has had the team all to himself for a complete season. We've seen that he wanted to leave LeBron James and go to Boston, because he wanted to be the man. Once he saw that what it's like to be the man, he realized it's not that simple. And so that's why he was eager to team up with another bigger superstar, because as a smaller point guard, it's not easy to take on that load in the NBA, which is still a big man's game. It's just that the big men play small ball now. And so LeBron James, he's easily still the number one player in the world, but because Kevin Durant, his skill set, he could have arguably been number one, but coming off of this major injury, it's not going to be easy. We saw DeMarcus Cousins come back from that injury, and he couldn't jump over a dollar bill. Now, we see Kevin Durant has already made $190 million NBA salary. He has a 10-year, $250 million deal with Nike. This man has almost made $500 million in NBA and shoe contracts already, and that's just his current shoe contract, not the previous. Now, Kyrie Irving has made $100 million, and he's only 26 years old, and that's just an NBA salary, not including shoe contracts. These young men in the NBA today have so much money, they're able to do so many things that basketball at a certain point is just it's not as important anymore. Kevin Durant has a media company. He's trying to become a mogul. He has enough money to do so. His friend DeAndre Jordan, and he's 7 feet, and you see they standing neck and neck. He's also going to join them in Brooklyn as well. He just left the Knicks, and I'm sure he told them about the dysfunction that's going on in the New York organization, which helped to facilitate Kyrie and Kevin Durant choosing Brooklyn instead of New York. And New York has a long history of not being managed properly. Now, Kevin Durant is leaving a situation that would have been beneficial for his recovery. If he would have been with Golden State and continued to stay there, he would have still been in a familiar situation where he could have rehabbed, had an ability to take his time, and then he could have came back. And when he played with Golden State, he would have had less pressure on him because they had to play Golden State honest with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and himself, as well as other players on the court. It took a lot of pressure off of him. Now, with him coming back, he's got a lot of pressure to rehab and come back better than ever. Kyrie Irving more than likely will have injury problems because that's just what's happened in his career. And it's going to be difficult for Kevin Durant to dominate the way he once did. Now, because he is such a superb shooter and so tall, that may help him become a great shooter and still productive player. But will he be the explosive Kevin Durant that we have seen grow in the last few years in Golden State? It's highly unlikely. And at most, it may take 2 to 3 years for him to become that player again. Now, at 30 years old, he would just be 33. And so he's still not too old. And in today's NBA, the way they take care of their bodies and train, it's not the same as when 20-30 years ago a 33-year-old NBA player was pretty much done. Now, I still think it was a bad move for Kevin Durant to go there, as well as Kyrie. The only thing that they did is secure another $150 million, but both of them took pay cuts to go to Brooklyn together. So they could have had more money had they stayed at their prospective clubs. But they're going to make so much money off the court that they're not worried about NBA salary. In the end, what do you guys think? You think he should have stayed? You think he should have left? What do you think of the NBA? I don't know what to think sometimes about this new friendly NBA, and everybody wants to play with each other, and it's a little different. It still makes it exciting and interesting to see where these players go and how the NBA is going to shape up. And it is good to know that it's going to be a different Warriors team than it's been in the past few years. But I think that Kevin Durant kind of used the Warriors more than they used him. He used the Warriors to get those championships, and now that he has what he has, he can leave. He doesn't have to play with them anymore because now he has 2 rings on his resume, and he can be solidified as one of the greatest ever. Leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think. You think he should have stayed with Golden State, chose another team, or did he make the right move? Do you think Kyrie Irving is going to be a dependable teammate as far as health issues as well as getting along with everybody? He has burned bridges in the locker room before. I want to thank everybody that support my work at patreon.com. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.